Hiya guys, and welcome back to Wade's Workshop. A little bit of a break from the Stuart F50 steam engine. We're going to be making some bespoke hinges. I expect you guessed from the title of the video. This is probably going to be 2, maybe 3 parts. I'm only going to show one of them being made, but you'll get the idea from the video of how I'm going about the different processes. Quite an interesting little project. They'll be going... it's a hinged lid that goes around a swimming pool. I mean, that's as much as it needs to know. But obviously... with the chlorine and water and goodness knows what, 316 stainless steel is going to be the hinge pin. There's some little swivels part of the hinge which are made from 316 stainless again, and this is a piece of 25 by 10. And then the main body is this chunk of 70mm by 25mm thick aluminium. There's quite a bit of machining to do on these. You'll see that as we go along. So I'm going to cut this piece of bar up into the individual pieces. Now, drawings, you know when people give you drawings on the back of a matchbox, you know, that sort of idea, or back of a fag packet, as they used to call it, and it's like, oh, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, these are actually quite good. They were drawn out on graph paper by my nephew. He was, you know, clever that way. He's not an engineer, but he can see what I needed to know, and it's a really good sketch compared to what most people give you that aren't engineers. It's not a drafted drawing, but it's all the information's there, very clear, well designed as well. So, I will be referring to my phone where I've downloaded the picture emailed to me, and I will be doing little sketches as we go along of what the parts look like. So, I think we'll just get on with it. So, quick sketch of the main bodies. Aluminium, the blocks, like that will be the 90mm long one. I have cut all the individual pieces, the long ones and the short ones. So we got 134 by 65 and 90 by 65. These are the cutouts. We shall explain those a bit later. They're 10mm wide. But yeah, so that's where we are at present, and we're about to block up these blocks. So I think what I'll do, I'll hold them vertically in the vise. There's 5mm to come off this dimension. Not much on the length. So I'm going to bring this dimension down somewhere near first. So I think I'm going to take all the blocks and take 2.5mm off one side, half of what's on there. So I got my fly cutter up, set to about 60mm diameter. Basically, I'm taking 0.6 or 24, 25 thou pass, running at a fair lick, running at 1000 RPM. Yeah, basically 4 passes across here, and we'll have the 2.5 or 2.4mm on. I normally take 4 passes at 0.6 and then a final pass back the other way at 0.1. Yeah, we're spraying the workshop in aluminium. You can probably hear me better now. Spraying the workshop in aluminium. I'm trying to cut from left to right as you're looking at it. Well, the cutter's going from right to left, but the job's going from left to right, and that sprays most of the aluminium away from me. So yeah, another cut on, down to 1.2, back the other way. Quick dabble of WD on the top, just to stop the tip welding. I could probably do this with a milling cutter just as fast, I suppose, and take it all off in one hit. You know, with a couple of passes across with a, I don't know, 12mm cutter, but that would be 3 passes, so fly cutter's just as quick for this sort of work. I'm not letting it run off the end, not until the final pass. Speed the feed up, go back the other way, undo a lock on the quill. Into 1.8 deep, that's 1.9, we're not going to worry about that. Another wipe. You get the picture. I'm going to do that to all 6 blocks now. The final cut to 0.1 now. I don't know whether I mentioned that I've rechecked the tramming of the head to the table earlier. Because I'd stripped it all down, I've had the vise off, you know, all the rest. Good time to do it when you've got a clean bed, or nothing on the bed. So check the tramming of the head, absolutely fine. nothing wrong with it at all, as good as when I did it initially. And obviously I've plopped the vice back in on its clamps, and the vice is now back in place. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of vice work, so worth just checking the tram of the head and making sure that the vice is right. I didn't know whether the head had moved or not. I'd done a fair bit of work on it since I did it, heavy work. I didn't know whether it may have moved. I didn't suspect it had moved, but you know, everything was working fine. But nice to know what the clock tells you as well, just from time to time. Just check it out. Must be, well, it's greater than 6 months since I did it, so there we are. We'll let that finish its cut. 5 more to do like that. So flip it over, do the other side. As you can see, I got it sat on parallels this time. Tapped down on the parallels. Did the first one, measured it up, got it to spec, 65mm, nearest what have you. It's probably plus or minus 0.1 with no problem, but it's within a thou. So doing all the others now. This is the second one, down to the same figure of 0 on my quill DRO. Basically do them as a batch so that they're all 65mm wide. So there's 0.05 left on here. As you can see, it's hard down on the parallels aren't moving. So yeah, again, it's just 4 passes. As you can see, it's coming out like a mirror on there. So, with the width of the parts done, and that's all 6 halves of the 3 hinges, machined to width, 65mm. As these were just sawn off, I'm going to square up one end of all 6 parts. Now, when I got the bar, I didn't allow, well, it's 25mm over length, and I had to do 5 cuts to make 6 parts. I was going to do it in my chop saw, but that cuts about 4mm out, 4 5's 20. It would have left very little material. So I basically hacksawed all 5 cuts in the length of bar. Yeah, it was a bit mean with my materials ordering. It would have taken me minutes to chop them off on the chop saw. As it happened, I probably spent best part of 45 minutes hacksawing. It was a good workout. And I would sort of cut one off, start machining as you saw me do, and then while it was machining I'd do a bit more hacksawing on the next part, and so on and so forth. But there we are. Next time, order an extra 100mm of material. It'll never go to waste. But then again, I did get a workout. And keep my hand in with a hacksaw. Let's have a look. I think we've about cleaned up there. Probably will do a little bit of springing on the return pass. It is. In fact, that's not quite cleaned up. But there's going to be a big radius on these, so that will disappear when I put the rad on. In fact, I'm going to take another 0.1 just to make sure it cleans up, because you see an area here which hasn't cleaned up. You can guarantee I won't notice it, and I'll put the radius on the other end, and then that'll be left on the back end of the part. So I clean it up now. It's done. So they've all been done one end, flip them around the other way, and machine them to length. As you can see, I put a 1, 2, 3 block on the end as an end stop, so on the 3 longer parts I can push them all back into the end stop, and once I've sized up one and got it right, all 3 will follow suit to the same reading on the DRO. So each one of these blocks are going to have 2 slots cut in one end. It's basically 15mm, 10mm wide slot, 15mm, 10mm wide slot, 15mm. From this outer edge, the centre of the slots, I've just worked it out, is 20mm there and 45 to the next one from the back face. The part that's going in is 23mm deep, 23mm long. It's going to protrude, but I'm going to put an extra 0.5mm clearance in the base, so 23.5 deep. Now, I haven't got well, I have got 10mm cutters and I've got 8mm cutters and what have you, but one's that an 8mm cutter that's long enough to do 23.5 deep. I have got a 3/8 cutter, which is nearly, well, you know, it's under 10mm, so that's good. That's long series, that'll do the job. But I've got an 8mm ripper cutter up. Let me just bring you up to the cutter. An 8mm ripper there, which will get me, you know, best part of the way, 21mm deep, to do these slots in one hit. So I bang the tripod. Right, let me just bring you around. Oh, my swivel's locked. I've got all 3 blocks set up in the vise. Now, yes, if there's any discrepancy in the thickness of the blocks, one or other is going to be loose. Probably would clamp on the 2 outers, and as the middle one's bigger, what have you. Normally, if I was clamping one on either end of the vise, they would hold secure, but I want to do all 3 in one hit. I've used a piece of leather against the moving jaw, or I call it leather, it's fake leather, that'll take up any discrepancies. I've tightened the vise down fairly tight, and they are rock solid in there, but I'm not going to be hacking away at this to any degree where I'm going to move anything in the vise. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be secure. You know, experience tells me that that's not going to move as it stands at the moment. I've just checked individually and everything's clamped tight. So I'm going to get on with it. So I just picked up the back face on the fixed jaw to see where we were. Set a 0 over the edge. And I've come in 20mm, which leaves the 15.5 of the 10. But obviously the cutter's undersized. So next job, I'm just going to touch off on the surface. Just wind down gently, see where we are, set a 0. Come on. There we go. We'll call that 0. So total depth is going to be 23.5mm. I'm going to try, alright, I'm going to do 2mm cut first, just see how it works, and then we'll get brave after that. So that's 2mm deep. Lock everything off, lock my Z, Y is locked. I think we'll get some WD-40 at the ready. Here we are. Just to stop any welding up. Just going to go by hand first of all. Make sure nothing unexpected happens. I don't know the history of this cutter. I've scribed a couple of lines on the top. Idiot lines. Just to make sure of my measurements. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that. In fact, let me just turn the feed on. Reason I'm doing all 3 at once in this way round, obviously the easier way round, put them the other way in the vise, clamp them all together with the 2 jaws. But that would mean removing the vise. The vise is all set up. Let's just see how it goes. That cutter seems quite happy. We'll see what happens when we get to the end one. Yeah, that seems happy. I'm tempted to put a G-clamp across the 3 of these. I don't know. I haven't got a toolmaker's clamp that goes that big. Well, I enjoyed that. So that was a 2mm cut. So, yeah, I'll try a 3mm cut. So, under the lock, bring it out to 5. Rock her off, turn that feed back down. See how it goes. Okay, so we did that 2mm cut, then I did a 3mm cut, and this is 5mm deep. So we're down to 10. Yeah, seems happy enough. As I say, not in a great rush. Just roughing out with this cutter. So that's the first groove done to 22mm deep with a 8mm roughing cutter. And just starting the second groove now, straight in, 5mm deep, 5mm cut. So basically 5 cuts, 4 5mm cuts, and I run a 2mm deep cut through at the end. As I say, everything else is going to be finished off with this long series 3/8 cutter. Hopefully, it looks fairly good and sharp, so we should be okay. So we've changed over to the long series 3/8 cutter now. Just as well I didn't have a 10mm. I measured the material that's going in this slot and it's about 9.8mm. So yeah, I'm going to sort of tune it so we've got, you know, 2 thou to 4 thou. 0.05 to 0.1 clearance on the material that's going to be hinging in there. I've just worked it out to get my width. From that nominal 20 from the edge, I need to step back and forth by 0.15 a side, and that will give me the slot width I'm looking for. So I've just brought Y towards me here, and I'm running a pass across there, conventional milling. Surface finish looks fine. Just keep a bit of WD-40 on that cutter. So I'll run to the end of this one, then step the other way and run back through, and that should give me my slot width that I'm looking for. I'm looking for about 9.8mm. There we are, 2 slots, approximately 10mm wide, the 9.8, 23.5mm deep through the 3 halves, or the 3 short halves of the 3 hinges. So yeah, move on now, do exactly the same with the longer parts. Probably use a different setup because the longer ones are going to be up here somewhere, so yeah, even more likelihood of them coming out the vise. We wouldn't want that. So yeah, I'm going to do the same with those and bring you back. I'm just doing the longer 3 of the 6 blocks. I've got a far better setup this time. I've got the 3 blocks. Let's just see if I can point it out. I got my 246 block here at the back clocked up. I got a 1, 2, 3 block either side, clamping them to make it like a U-shaped nest so that they're rigidly located. And then finally I got a draw bolt right through the 246 block onto a clamp on the top, holding them all back against the 246 block, basically using it like an angle plate. So yeah, far better setup than I had last time. With hindsight, I probably should have done the shorter ones this way as well, but it's done now and there were no problems. So yeah, final cut now, just flanking the sides of this groove. You get the picture. I'm taking 0.1 off that back face, 0.1 off the front one. We should be somewhere near. But yeah, just thought I'd show you that setup. 1, 2, 3 blocks, 246 block, and what we got. Fortunately, the width of the holes in the 246 block line up, near as habit, with the slots in my table, which is handy. So yeah, that's, you know, obviously I can put it long ways because the slot is a slot, but to be able to put the 2 bolts sideways on as well in this 246 block on the table is a useful thing that I've just sort of figured out with it. So yeah, happy days. I've got to do one more pass back the other way in a moment. I'll let this cut run to the end, show you it coming out the other end. But yeah, 23.5mm deep, and it's about 9.8 wide, 9.85 wide it works out at with this step over, which is just a nice fit on the material that's going to go in there. just let that run out the end. Do the step in the other direction. Just looking at the DRO. Lock the table. Back the other way. Clean that slot out. Bit of WD on the cutter. I just put a bit on the top and let it run down. Anyway, happy days. Just using my power feed for this, as you can see. Finishing off the last pass of the 6th block. There we are, guys. That's about enough for this one. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all you new subscribers for subscribing, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and a thumbs down if you didn't, but hopefully it's a thumbs up. Anyway, that's it for part 1, and we'll be back very soon with part 2. Cheers now.